this week we're talking about our review of the Suicide Squad movie. I saw it this morning, Friday, August the 5th, bright and early. First one's in line for our local showing. And I thought it was pretty cool. You've seen the trailers. Do you expect this to be a good review, a bad review? What did you think of the movie? Just not having seen it, what are your expectations for the film, Edgar?
Not seeing it, not hearing about the aftermath, which we'll talk about later, or pre-math.
Pre-math, yeah.
It grabbed everybody's attention. The little even for their little trailers, the soundtrack itself got your attention. Got everything everybody wanted to see. Of course, Harley Quinn is the main one because this is her first time in an live action film, other than her in video games, cartoons, comic books, of course. To see her in flesh and bone. And of course, seeing the different alternative version of the Joker, because almost every Bat film, TV show, whatnot, has their own iconic version of the Joker. And a lot like with Heath Ledger, of course, they weren't sure about him. They were like, I don't know about this guy. Jared Leto, what? Tattoos, and looked like he had braces, but it looked more like a grill. But hey, it seemed to work, seemed to pull it off. But I once again, you saw it. I haven't. I'm gonna watch it. It's just a matter of when or how, especially with the little baby. It's a little harder to do. But we'll see. We're probably gonna make it happen. I definitely want to check it out for myself so I can make my own judgment.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about, first of all, the reviews that kind of came out of Rotten Tomato and some of the early previews that people saw as news writers. I believe Rotten Tomato gave it an aggregate score of like 4.3 out of 10. Which incensed the DC fans all over the world. They actually protested and wanted to get Rotten Tomatoes taken down by signing a change.org protest form, which was hilarious to me. But in my opinion, it was actually a really good movie. It definitely doesn't deserve all the skin it's getting from critics. Yeah, it's not the best movie in the world, but why were you expecting it to be? This is a superhero movie where you have the Joker and Harley Quinn and a bunch of other villains in a Dirty Dozen style movie. If you've seen the Dirty Dozen, you've kind of seen this movie already. I personally, I give it a rating of about 7.5 to 8.0 out of 10. So it's to me, it is better than Batman versus Superman. It's just not as fun as Deadpool. And I think if you were expecting to be as good as Deadpool, you're going to be disappointed, because that movie took a lot of time and effort and negotiating to get its rated R status and to do all the kind of fun jokes that it did and it is famous for. And this movie didn't. It was, it's just a different kind of film. And the fact that they kind of come out the same relative time frame, I think is kind of a detriment to this one, because they had to do reshoots to make up for the bad reviews for Batman, Superman. And for some people, that made it slightly disjointed. Like there were kind of several storylines going on at the same time for this film. But to me, if you just going with the good attitude of just a superhero, anti-superhero, fun, Dirty Dozen kind of movie, you're going to enjoy the film. I know I did. The highlights for me are, of course, Margaret Robbie as Harley Quinn. She kind of stole the show from everybody. Even in the trailers, I think you already got a glimpse of like, oh, this is just a fun, unexpectedly amazing character. And she does a great job of balancing line between crazy and cute. And that's essentially what the Harley Quinn character is. Another good point, of course, is the amazing music. They paid some big bucks to get those music rights. All those music tracks that you saw in the trailers, they're all in the movie. They're not quite done as well, but it's a good music score. Will Smith is definitely hands down the best actor in the movie. He's a great character actor, so it's not surprising that he would be the best one. But he also touches your heart as a kind of character who's just looking out for his daughter and happens to murder people for a living. An unexpected bonus is the character El Diablo, played by Jay Hernandez. He's that cholo dude with the fire powers in the movie. He is actually great. It was very surprising, touching story of how he chose not to use his powers for most of the film, and why he chooses to use them at the very end of it as a kind of redemption story to me. And it's surprisingly well done. The characters that they chose to focus on were probably those three the most for the villains. Harley Quinn, Deadshot, and El Diablo. And now there's some other good characters like the villain, the Enchantress. Spoilers, folks. She's the bad guy. Also, they're taking the Marvel approach and making these films and making that they're referential to the other films. Like they reference that Superman came and that he died, and you get to see some nice cameos from other characters, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But those are some of the good points for me. Some of the bad points are unfortunately going to be Jared Leto as the Joker. Not a good job, buddy. He was very disappointing, especially if you're comparing him to any other Joker ever, including Mark Hamill. He fell short. Maybe all of his good stuff ended up on the cutting room floor, but he wasn't engaging. He wasn't crazy enough to me. He didn't have the charm that the Joker character generally has. Like Jared's Leto version of the Joker was not a character you secretly rooted for, that you had fun with. He seemed overly serious, and the moments where he was crazy, he just seemed like a jerk and an ass. So, the fact that him and Harley Quinn got together doesn't really make sense. They just kind of explain it as that he's super charming and she fell in love with him as a psychologist. But again, it doesn't really work for me. Some of the other characters that were on the Suicide Squad, to me, didn't quite do enough. Like Killer Croc. He just kind of shows up, and he's supposed to be Batman's foil or like a Batman villain, but he doesn't do anything really that's very super villainy-ish. Like he has one role where he does a water scene, like in Super Mario Brothers. It didn't really seem necessary to me. And of course, Katana, the girl with the sword, she has a very short backstory, and then she just kind of kills things, and she doesn't have very many lines. So if you're hoping for like an R-rated fun movie like Deadpool, you're going to be disappointed. Go in with good expectations of it being just a fun movie, but just between Batman vs. Superman and Deadpool. And I think you'll have a pretty good time, but don't expect to be quite as good as the trailers. So, and that's going to be my review for, Suicide Squad. So when you see it, you'll let us know what you think of it, buddy. Was there anything else you want to talk about this week?
Well, I noticed that there was obviously just not much of a spoiler, but obviously we saw it in the trailer that Batman's in it. Now, we know obviously who Batman is, but is it still Ben Affleck, and does he speak? That'd be my question.
Okay, so spoiler again, folks. If you don't want to hear any of this, click off now. Thanks for watching, listening. Okay, so having said that, yeah, Batman shows up in Batman costume. It is Batfleck, and Bruce Wayne shows up as Batfleck at the end in the after credit scene. There's only one that comes after the movie ends, but before like the final credit show. There's no post credit scene. There's just one where he's talking to Amanda Waller, who formed the Suicide Squad, and she's actually giving him information on the Justice League, on the other members that are just like the Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman. So that's where he gets his information from the beginning of the Justice League, because we've seen the trailer for the Justice League. He already kind of has the information, and he's going to look for his Super Friends, and they make the Super Friends joke in this little after credit scene. But that's where he gets his information from Amanda Waller, who's been tracking the metahumans for quite a while now.
All right, so that's definitely got my attention on that, because I wanted to know more about it. But once again, until I watch it, I make my own final call on it. Like I said, just for everybody, instead of just
as you should
trusting the critics. Yeah, get a view but that'll just be a shade. It won't be the whole story until you watch it for yourself, because especially if you're a diehard fan, you're not going to care. That's how it was with Batman vs. Superman. Fans loved it no matter what the critics say. But if you're a guy that's like, oh no, you have certain expectations, then you're going to be disappointed.
It's going with open heart and open mind, folks, and the enjoyment of the movie will let it come to you. But again, Harley Quinn definitely steals the show. And again, I think you're personally going to like the El Diablo. He's a Hispanic character. They kind of go with the Cholo version of him as a villain. But at the same time, it's also the, Cholo with the heart of gold sort of storyline. And it's done very well. And to me, it was very interesting to see the character develop. And they do a pretty good job with his backstory. So that's going to be it, folks, for the show. Thank you very much again for watching and listening. For Geek Minds Podcast, I am Ramon Mejia.
I'm Edgardo Costa.
And remember, folks, go geek out about something.